Michael Peterson wants to be famous. He wants to be remembered and respected. After robbing a post office, he's sentenced to 7 years in prison, but his actions extend that period to over 20 years in prisons, mental hospitals, and solitary confinement. Along the way, he develops an alter ego based off the 70s action star Charles Bronson, becoming a tough, crazy, determined fucker who will make his mark on the world in one way or another in the 2008 biopic Bronson. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And I'm Caleb Boucher.
And this is Filmgazm. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Filmgazm podcast. Today's episode is a random draw from the elusive book of Filmgazm, which is our endless list of weirdo films, aka potential episodes. Today, the book gave us Bronson, the film that put Tom Hardy on the map and told the true story of real-life prisoner Michael Peterson, a.k.a. Charlie Bronson, a.k.a. Charles Salvador, as he calls himself today. The dude has a very strange story, which we're going to get into later.
He's clearly a crazy man. As I learned throughout this movie, he is not sane.
The movie's way more accurate than I thought it was, which is pretty fucking nuts.
Bronson, the real life Charles Bronson likes the movie.
Yeah, he was a fan, which is hilarious. This was your first time with the movie, right?
Yeah, this was my first time. This was a film that got brought up to me a lot when I was getting into a lot of Tom Hardy's films. Around the time that he was trying to get famous, especially with Warrior. I was just like, like a lot of people, I'm a big fan of him as a person, him as an actor. Like, I just think Tom Hardy's like a kick-ass dude and performer. And this was one that always, from my buddy in college to you to everyone, being like, dude, if you want to see him give a hell of a performance, you got to watch Bronson. Like, he fucking goes. And I didn't even realize how early in his career he did this film. Like, this was well before he was Tom Hardy. Like, he was just some dude in this movie to a lot of people. But by God, can you tell like the future he had watching this film? Like, holy shit, he brings such a fucking different level of his performance that you don't see often. Fuck me, was he like good in this?
Well, funnily enough, he only ended up getting cast because their first choice, Jason Statham, said no. He had a scheduling conflict with something. I think like a transporter movie or something. But they went with Tom Hardy, who I guess nailed the audition or something. He'd done a couple movies like Layer Cake, some other stuff, but nothing really, no starring roles. And this was something that really showed people, oh, this is someone to look out for. It's considered one of his greatest performances. It's commitment, straight up. I love it. There's moments in this movie where I'm like, is that even Tom Hardy? That's Charlie Bronson. Holy shit. It's impressive. It's amazing. I kind
of would have been down. God, it was literally two of the best choices you could have had. It was either we have Tom Hardy, we ended up with Tom Hardy, or we could have ended up with film with Jason Statham, and I would have been happy with either outcome.
I don't know if Statham has the range to pull off a character like Charlie Bronson. I think he's got the build for it. But Tom Hardy, he's got the acting chops for it. No disrespect to Jason Statham. Just, I think he's got his niche and he's great at it. But Hardy was the guy. I don't know if anyone else would have done this justice.
No, I get it. I mean, I love Statham, but no, to his credit, Statham knows his range and he knows how to work it and made it into a very fucking profitable and entertaining career. And at the same time, he knows, there's times I think he doesn't really pick challenging roles because he likes what he's doing. Yeah. And I see stuff like, what he did with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, and he does show some range. Like when he kept going, the Germans, randomly. Or there is range. There is something there. I feel like he himself chooses to play the type of roles he does, and that's fine. Like I said, it's working for him. He's doing great with it.
I agree.
And I mean, we were supposed to have hopefully an actual true to form team up with him and Guy Ritchie earlier this year. I don't know when the fuck that movie was coming out anymore. I forget.
Yeah, Operation Fortune. What happened to that?
Yeah, like it. It looks like he's just between that and then like rumors surrounding that he's going to be in the Marvel universe here. Like I've been hearing a lot of rumors that they nabbed him finally. They were able to sign a deal with him. Obviously, Hobbs and Shaw 2 at some point, which I think we can all agree we're looking more forward to than fucking Fast X, as I'm calling it.
Yeah.
I will not call it Fast 10. If I call Chasing X, I'm not calling Fast 10 Fast 10. I'm calling it Fast X. I know it's a Roman numeral. I don't care. It sounds cool if you say that X.
Whatever. If Statham had taken this role, it's very likely we might not have gotten Tom Hardy on the scale we have gotten him.
And that's true too. Like it kind of works out because in a way, like we have Tom Hardy on the scale that he is like a very well-known actor. People love him. He is a bankable star. And Statham himself is also a bankable star. People know Statham. He's had like, especially playing like a villain role in the Fast and Furious franchise at first before they did what they did. And then his, showing he doesn't take himself seriously with, Spy, that comedic turn. And, he's done enough mainstream stuff as well to kind of show like, no, he people know who he is. He's a bankable star. So they both had in a way it worked out for both of them because now they're both huge stars in their respective field of film.
True. Very true. Speaking of Tom Hardy, before we get into the true story of the real Charlie Bronson and, of course, this wild film, we thought it'd be fun to get the juices flowing by doing a top 5. And what better topic than our top 5 favorite Tom Hardy performances? Now, there is bound to be overlap. He hasn't done a lot yet, but what he has done has been substantial, exciting, and memorable, and worth discussing. So I think more it's like, where do you put these performances and where do I put them? That's more the excitement here. We both, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we have the same 5 films.
Yeah. Well, and so like, I'll say this now. For me, I wrote down almost everything, a lot of what I've seen him in that I liked. And then it became a matter of like, okay, it's performances for me. So even if I like this film a lot, was his performance up to snuff? So then it became a note of like, okay, I'm not going to put this because I had more than 5 I had written down initially. Then they cut some out. I was like, okay, I like this film, but it's not the strongest of his performances compared to like this film. And by that, I mean, like, look, I'm not saying like he did shit in that particular film. It's just like compared to like the films I put down, I felt like not only were they strong films, it was also really good performances coming from him.
Yeah, I did pretty much the same thing. I this is not a top 5 Tom Hardy movies. It's a top 5 Tom Hardy performances. So I wanted to go by his strengths and his commitment and his transformations as opposed to the quality of the film. But even then, I do think he has been very selective and picked some damn good projects over his career. So I don't really think that he's done a lot of bad movies.
No. And like I said, even the ones I left out, like their films, I love. There's one film I did not put in that I'm a big fucking fan of, but I was just like, compared to these 5, so performance wise, he does better than these films. But goddamn, if I don't fucking love this movie, so it was a hard one to take out. I'll reveal it later, but it was a very fucking hard one to take out.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be really fun. Why don't you start us out?
So my 5 is actually the title episode in question that we're talking about. I went to put Bronson for me. Yeah, the only reason it's at 5 is because like admittedly I've seen these other films more, that I've had more time to really enjoy these films. But I can't deny that like performance wise, yeah, this, like we were saying, we'll get more into, I don't want to go too deep, but this is like, I can see if I was studio executive watching this, be like, you need to keep an eye on this guy. Holy shit, this is a fucking performance from him. And this is one of the few times where like he doesn't try to do an accent, or if he does, but it works in his favor. Because admittedly, I know he loves to change up his accent every movie because he's a big Gary Oldman fan. He made it very known. But sometimes even I have to laugh at the accents because it sounds more like grumbling and a new tone than it does actual speech. But here it's like it works. Everything from his look to it works. He's fucking amazing in this.
It's the craziness in his eyes that does it for me. Like, he just looks like he's always on fire mentally. And I love it. The slightest thing's going to set this dude off. I'll have more to say later on. But yeah, good start off. I like it. My number 5 is another Tom Hardy film that we covered not too long ago. Lawless. Forrest Bondurant, the patriarch of the Bondurant family, the head of the brothers. Just a solid mass of a human being. An unmovable wall.
He's working off the Bane weight.
Yeah, and he's just covered in sweaters because he was rocking like unbelievable bulk, but he still had to look like a West Virginia gangster, and I love that. But his performance is so good because he's just always, he's the guy everyone has to rely on. He's the guy who runs this racket. He runs this family. He runs this town. He's got so much on his shoulders, but he makes it seem so effortless. But then when he's alone, you can just feel him kind of sink and feel the weight of it all. And he's like that with Jessica Chastain's character a lot. I love the interactions between him and Shia LaBeouf, where it's like, no, you figure it out. You fucked up. You do this. Like, I love it. He's such a sage almost. But then when the chips are down, he's going to cut off a dude's nutsack. So he's hands on. It's one of my favorite Tom Hardy films, and just a great gangster movie and an awesome performance.
Yeah, this was one that I took the one I cut off my list, but I'm with you. I love Lawless. Hardy is great. I know, we make the joke he's broken off the Bane weight, but somehow he makes it work in the context of the movie. Because like you said, he gives off that weariness. Like, yes, he is like, everyone in the town looks up to him. Everyone knows who he is. He is fucking the fucking modern rock. As funny as I think he's not even the oldest sibling, yet he is the one. I think he's like the middle
child.
Yeah, but he is the one that they are like both respected, like they respect but fear, because they know that he's a good guy. If you stay on his good side and you don't do anything to his family, he'll treat you right. But you fuck up, you do anything to wrong him or his family, he will come after you.
Well, I also love this whole weird legend that like he's invincible, that you can't kill Forrest Bondurant. He gets his throat slit. He walks it off. He gets shot like 5 times. He walks it off. Like you start to think like, yeah, of course this dude thinks he's hot shit. Like, how do you not start to believe your own legend after all that?
Yeah. Well, and they even have that line. Remember when he's getting ready to go save his brother before he gets all shut up, and she's like, "Are you really dumb enough that you believe your own legend?" And then she tells him, "No, I took you to the hospital. You did not walk there."
I love that he thought that he got his throat slit. He was bleeding out, and he just walked to the doctor's office and doesn't remember it.
Yeah, like, of course I walked. What, you crazy?
Yeah, awesome.
My number 4, you could say out of these, is probably the smallest in my 5 role that he plays, but it leaves an impression for me, and that is his villainous role turn in The Revenant. He's not, you're in a 2.5-hour film. He's not in it a lot, but he makes what he is in completely worth it. From his obsession with getting the money for these pelts to the bickering he has with Leonardo DiCaprio of like, we need to get these pelts out of here. Like, we just got attacked. Like, we got to go. And Leo's like trying to keep the cool head, and he is to the point where he betrays him and just fucking kills his son, and just the whole quest to find him. And then even his like part when he pops up at the end and he's getting ready to kill like Leonardo, like I said, it's not a huge role, it's not a big role, but he makes it work. I know there's a lot of jokes now because of how much he says pelts, how obsessed he is with pelts in the movie, but it works. Like, I really, really like it.
My number 4 is also The Revenant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, John Fitzgerald is a bastard, just an absolute horrible person who only cares about getting his and making sure this goes down smoothly, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to make this happen. And it's what, 1750s or something?
I think so, somewhere around there.
So yeah, he's going to be determined to get, like, if he doesn't get the pelts there, he doesn't eat. So like, I get why he's so determined, but just what he does to killing the boy and leaving Leo for dead, it's a dark performance, but he brought his mumble talk best to that one. And just seeing him and Leo go head to head, especially in the end when they have that fight, it's so satisfying. This was his only Oscar nomination to date, but there will for sure be future ones. He's nowhere near done. If anything, he's just getting started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I really need to watch Revenant. I remember really fucking liking that the first time I watched it. I saw a thing where they were doing him and Leo were doing like, the press rounds for it. And like apparently like, Leo was like in a real nice like suit, being Leo, being all classy and whatnot during his interviews, dressing sharp. And then you had like Tom Hardy next to him, slouched, chilling in like jeans and like a shirt and like a sweater or something, like a hoodie or whatever, like chomping down on food when he's not answering questions. He's eating candy, then getting like hot or something. So he's taking off layers of clothing throughout the interview. And you can see like Leo just kind of looking like, what are you doing?
He's the bad boy of Hollywood. He plays by his own rules. It's funny.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching an interview where he was being interviewed by like some kid. It was like a 9-year-old, kind of a gimmick thing. And the kid asked him, why didn't your rap career work out? Tom Hardy laughed and he went, my rap career didn't work out because I suck. I love the candor.
I think I saw, yeah, they did it for like Venom where they had like kids interview him.
Yeah.
And apparently he was like just great with those kids. Like it looked like he was having a fun time with it.
Yeah, I love that he brings his dog to red carpets. Like he seems like a solid guy.
Yeah, no, I've from what I understand, he's a really solid dude to work with. There's only Charlie's Throne that felt the need to try to make him sound bad.
Well, I've heard more than a few stories about her, so
that's what I'm saying.
I've heard less stories about Tom Hardy.
When I remember when that happened, she was like, I was scared of him. And I'm thinking, it sounds like you're trying to pull the Amber Heard thing here right now. I've heard plenty of stories of you not exactly being the best human being on film sets and in personal life from personal assistant stories. Yeah.
Once you start berating the help, I don't care for you.
Yeah, and I've heard some stories of personal assistants not enjoying working with her. That she's not the nicest human being. I was like, I've heard from a lot of people they love working with Tom Hardy. So who's the asshole on set here? And what I love was his response. He was like, hey, look, I'm sorry. I took it real intense. Like he actually like he didn't get mad. I'm thinking like, see, look, here we go. Like this just proves it more. Like you're trying to come at him, and he is taking it like a class act. Like, hey, it was early in my career. I was taking it real serious. Didn't mean to give off a certain vibe.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect him kind of negating any chance at a feud. Well done.
Yeah, it's like you fucking class act. I wasn't expecting both to have the Revenant at 4, but damn, okay. My number 3 is a film that I feel is still underseen and people need to watch it more. This is a badass goddamn movie. And that is Warrior with him and Nick Nolte and Edgerton, Joel Edgerton. Yeah. Look, over film rights itself, the movie is fucking great. Like this is a great fucking movie. And Tom Hardy, you can see why this is the guy that went from like, obviously Bronson get him attention of like, we need to look off this guy, but this a lot, I think from what I understand, this was like the role that convinced them to get him for Dark Knight Rises. So he like was a warrior from what I understand. And you can see why, like, he is like built. It is scary how big his traps alone are in this movie. And he does a very generalized American like East Coast accent, but goddamn if it doesn't work. And it's just like his performance in that is great and his story is great. I've seen this film plenty of times and I'm always just hooked on like his storyline of like, he went AWOL because he couldn't take it with what happened to his squad and he's just trying to find his way and reconnect, with his father and his brother and all that stuff. It's just a really fucking good movie, really good performance and real good story.
I love Warrior, and I'm going to save my thoughts.
Okay.
My number 3 is the movie that introduced me to Tom Hardy. where I started finally paying attention to this guy, and it's one of my favorite comic book performances, The Dark Knight Rises. Bane. Yeah, the character got whitewashed. Let's just say that now. It happened. Fuck it. Tom Hardy's commitment in The Dark Knight Rises is so obvious. I think that he, following Heath Ledger's Joker was an impossible task. Nobody was going to live up to that. So I think Nolan was smart to go in the completely opposite direction and give Batman a physical obstacle in the form of Bane, as well as a mental one. And just watching Tom Hardy's Bane dismantle Bruce Wayne's entire life is crazy. And then just watching him beat the living hell out of Batman while saying crazy, memorable, awesome shit. The shadows betray you because they belong to me. Like, what the fuck? He's scary in that movie, and just huge and intimidating. And the way he walks around, like, holding his jacket like that, it's like, this dude could do anything. Yeah, I love Tom Hardy as Bane, and I think the voice is intimidating. I like he went kind of goofy with it, but I think that just makes the character seem more unhinged. And yeah, I'll defend that movie to death. I love the Dark Knight trilogy, and I think the Dark Knight Rises is a fitting end for the character, and Tom Hardy is a big part of that.
I'll go ahead and say my piece because I have that number 2 for me. Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, I know. Look, I like you said, I know a lot of people kind of come out the voice. And I get it; it sounds goofy, but I like it. I have no issues with it, and I think it's because, like you said, it's Tom Hardy's commitment to so not just like in the physical realm, because he is fucking huge in this movie, but it's just like the performance. Like, he didn't need to play Bane this good, and yet he gave it his all. Yeah, the way he delivers certain lines with the whole, like, the shadows. I was born in the darkness, molded by it. Like, just like, this is a guy that you don't want to fuck with on both a physical and intellectual level. Which, after getting Batman and Robin's version of Bane, was a nice change of pace. It's like, yes, this is Bane. Like, he is a physical force. He's also incredibly smart, because in the comics, I know most comic fans know, he's the one that figures out who the fuck Batman is. It's like a big goddamn storyline. So having that brought into this movie was great. I like Dark Knight Rises, and I don't hate it like most people do. I do have some gripes with it, especially its like fucking length. But yeah. I do enjoy it for the most part. And Bane is a huge, huge, huge reason for that. Tom Hardy, it's so good to the point that one of my gripes is how they just dispatch him in the movie, and then make Talia the fucking main bad guy. And I'm like, I don't like that much, because I didn't really care for her reveal, because there was no real build up to it. I was like, you had this really great villain in Bane. You could have just kept him as the main bad guy.
Yeah, he ended up becoming just kind of a simp, which was unfortunate. And then he got blasted away by Catwoman. It's like, shit.
Yeah. And like I said, that's a mixture of, like, I'm mad at the storytelling aspect of doing that, but also, like, again, his performance is so good that I'm just like, really, like, fuck you guys. Like, just have him be the main villain. That would have been so much better.
I love when he's earlier in the movie, when that one of his guys fucks up and brings Commissioner Gordon to, like, his hideout, and Bane just tells the guy, search him, then I'm going to kill you. It's like,
oh yeah,
he'll do it. Yeah. I love this movie. And while the character didn't get a great send off in the movie, I thought Tom Hardy, this and Bronson specifically, show me just how good Tom Hardy is at acting with his eyes. He is so good. Like, just, the way he holds himself, like narrowing, off to the side, like, he knows what he's doing with his eyes. And Bane, especially, a character that's mostly masked up, he brought a menace and towards the end kind of a humanity to the character that I really appreciated.
We just do the eye thing too with Lawless. He has a lot of stuff where he's like, the way he looks at you, it's just like, okay.
He just glares and just does like, it's like a grumbling, and you're like, oh shit, he's pissed.
Oh, he's mad. Anger grumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is Yeah, there's I think one of my favorite parts when you see like how the kind of power he has on his people. It's like the plane heist, and that one guy's getting ready to leave. He's like, no, one of us has to stay, and the guy just goes, "Does the fire rise?" The fire rises, and just the guy's like, "Okay, cool, I'm staying on the plane and going to crash with it." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
In that bit, I love when the guy asks him, like, so what's your plan? And his eyes widen and he just goes, crashing this plane. And the music kicks in. It's like, oh shit. Yeah, that was a great opening. Yeah, we did Batman Begins on Oscar Sunday earlier this year. I think I want to do more Dark Knight trilogy. I just love talking about these movies.
Well, let it breathe. Jesus.
I want more. So that was your 2?
That was my 2. Yes, Dark Knight Rises.
Okay. My number 2 is Bronson. I love this movie. I think he is absolutely bonkers insane and just committed to anarchy and, chaos. It's such a great, to me, this showed like Tom Hardy would make a great Joker. There's moments in this movie where I'm like, that's just pure chaotic nightmare. Like he would pull that off great. But, just from the beginning, my name is Charlie Bronson. Like, oh boy. This guy's not well.
Yeah, the way he's just staring at the camera. We'll get more into it, but I really like the vaudeville type, like the monologue when they keep cutting him. I'm like, what the fuck?
I love when he'll laugh and smile and he'll very quickly just like drop it and then glare. Like, this man's insane. But yeah, I think the character is fun and crazy and wild and constantly fucking with everybody he meets. And yeah, it's a great kind of debut, if you will, for Tom Hardy on the, as a leading man. I think more people need to see this movie. It was like, we'll talk more about it in a bit, but yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
All right. That means it's on number 1. My number 1 might surprise you. Maybe. I don't know. I know I've voiced how I feel about the movie itself. My number 1 is Venom, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I stand by that while the movie itself is okay to me, it's a mediocre film. God damn if Tom Hardy doesn't make me actually enjoy watching it. His performance in that film should not be as committed and zany and out there as it is, but it is. And hearing like stirs about just jumps into the tank of lobsters, that wasn't scripted. That was just fucking ad-libbed by Tom Hardy on the spot. Like, just things like that. I'm like, holy shit. Like he again, considering the reception, post Dark Knight Rises release, he could have easily been like, I'm not doing another comic book movie again. Like, fans were just like a certain way, like, I'm done. But he did it. One, he agreed to do this again. He, as far as I'm concerned, was the perfect choice for Eddie Brock. Like, if anyone was going to get Eddie, I'm like, yeah, Tom Hardy makes perfect sense. And then just delivers this like just out there performance that shouldn't work, but it does. And then double duties and plays Venom. And just makes, and he really, to me, he's the main reason I can sit through Venom. I will sit through Venom anytime. I think the film itself doesn't fully work. Like, he keeps me glued to the screen. I love watching him and Venom's interaction. I was so happy to see that in Let There Be Carnage. They were like, you guys really like their relationship? We're going to give you even more of that. And we got it. Like, yeah, Tom Hardy just goes for broke and it just works for me. I'm a big sucker, if you haven't noticed, for just go for broke type of film or performance. And this is a go for broke, give it your all performance, and it just fucking works.
That's awesome. I love that you did that. I was watching Venom while I was putting this together, and I just thought, like, this is awesome. But I was sure it was going to be on your list, but like at number 5 or something. So that's why I didn't include it. But it's your number 1 pick. That's fantastic. I love that.
It was, yeah, and that's why I kind of said before we started. For me, this is all about performances. Because if you notice, I didn't have Mad Max 40 Word in here, even though I fucking adore Mad Max 40 Word.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tom Hardy in that movie. It's not the most showy performance. It's the definition of him just kind of grumbling his way through it.
I agree. That's why I didn't have Legend. I think his, pulling double duty as the Cray twins is great, but I think that there's just not a lot going on for that in that movie. It's the opposite for me. Fury Road's an awesome movie with a subdued Tom Hardy performance. Legend is an awesome Tom Hardy performance in a subpar movie, and it does kind of tank the performance a little, which is a shame. Yeah, Venom, that's so cool. But yeah, it's a great performance. Tom Hardy as this Eddie Brock who has no fucking clue what's happening to him, just constantly eating weird shit and freaking out. And then when he finds out there's an alien living inside him, he takes it pretty well.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I love. It's like it came out when we have this deluge of MCU films on what a superhero, a male at least. I'm not going to say, right now I'm just going to focus on male superheroes, not necessarily what female superheroes should look like. But we have in our heads what a male superhero should look like. And then this film comes out and says, nope. They're going to look like Tom Hardy, who is sweating profusely. It's a bit of a loser throughout the movie. Not a winner, to quote a very old Charlie Sheen quote.
Oh my God.
He's not winning. Loser, sweating, doesn't know what the fuck's going on, is freaking out throughout the whole thing, and then just takes to this thing happening and goes with it, and it's refreshing. And the full commitment he gives to it, it's great. And it's not and the fact that he didn't turn around and go I really I'm not happy with my performance. No, he said, you know what? I really like doing that. I'm glad you guys reacted to it, received it so well. Here's the sequel. And now we're in a Venom 3. And then we got a little bit, and then even his cameo in No Way Home was one of my favorite parts in No Way Home, with the whole so you're telling me that there's a guy flying around as a spider? What?
That was great.
I love his role so much as Eddie Brock. I love the interactions with him and Venom, especially knowing that it's Tom Hardy playing Venom, so he's just talking to himself. Oh my God. The whole segment in Let There Be Carnage when he's like, talk to Anne, we miss her, say something.
I love randomly in the first one when he's Venom tells Eddie you might not ever see her again, this is your only chance to apologize, and then Eddie apologizes and Venom just kills the moment by going, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Little things like that. It's a great role. Yeah, Venom kicks ass.
I love when he's trying to get him to go down the elevator or whatever. He's like, just go down. No. And he's like, just jump down. We can just jump down. It's like, no, we're taking the elevator. And then cuts them taking the elevator. Pussy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I will gladly defend this performance. Tom Hardy is giving us the hero, the most opposite of what we get nowadays with superhero films. Fully commits to it. We've gotten more of it, and they've only doubled down in the sequel. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this performance.
He's a schlub who keeps fucking up, who has done a lot of damage to people he loves, who encounters an alien who is kind of a piece of shit on his home planet, and it's maybe here we can be winners together if we just help each other. And then they both just kind of yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I think it's a bummer we yet to get to see the evil Spider-Man hating Venom, but I do like that what we've gotten is this kind of schlubby hey, let's try to do the right thing kind of Venom.
Yeah. Oh, I love the whole their nods to Lethal Protector when he was we can be a lethal protector. No, that sounds stupid.
I love in the second one when Venom makes him slap Anne's husband. He's like, I'm so sorry.
He just walks off.
I also like how Venom subverts a lot of tropes, like the new, her new husband isn't a douchebag or resentful or anything. He's a doctor who wants to help Eddie, and even Eddie's this guy's good for you. Everyone's
even Venom likes him. Even Venom's I kind of like him.
Yeah, it's not the movie I think anybody expected it to be. I think we all expected a Morbius, but we ended up getting a pretty good movie that I think has gotten better over time. And the sequel I think is just as good.
Yeah. And for me, the sequel actually for me improved, because they're hey, let's give you all the shit you liked and give you more of it. And I was so down. I laughed when they were why don't you just eat the chickens? No, the chickens are our friends.
I I like at the beginning when he's going to see Cassidy and Eddie says something like, "Why don't you shut up?" And then the guard's like looking at him and he's just like, "I don't have any way to explain that."
Like when like Venom's like chunking stuff out of his apartment. Not the TV. What are you doing? And then his bike. No. What are you doing?
I love when Venom goes out to the club and it's like, "We're free. We're not taking orders from him anymore." And they're like, "Preach." Oh, I might watch Let There Be Carnage tonight. It's been a minute.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah. I stand by it. These performances are fucking stellar, and this is the definition of like from what's on almost a non-horror side. I would say this horror adjacent. Where the Academy can just be like, go shove it. This is a great performance, Academy. It's not our drama role. It's a guy. It's your actor literally going for broke, giving it his all, and giving us the greatest goddamn thing in this movie.
Yeah, well said. That was awesome. Well, my number one is Warrior. This is a movie that just keeps getting better every time I watch it. I love the juxtaposition between Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, just two brothers who had wildly different paths in life because of the way they chose to deal with their childhood trauma. And Tom Hardy, as Tommy Conlon, just being so determined not to forgive anybody. He's like, anyone who's wronged him deserves his hatred and his scorn. And you just feel this pain in him the whole time. He's so hurt and he's so upset and pissed at everything that's happened to him. Like his first fight in the octagon when he just decks that dude in one punch and walks away. Like this is a damaged, scary dude. And I love the interaction between him and Nick Nolte, where he just, destroys Nick Nolte because he feels like he deserves it. And then the final fight between the brothers is so devastating. Every time I watch it, I can't help but cry. The music and just, Joel Edgerton holding Tom Hardy in the, like, he's going to break him. And he's just like, "It's okay. Like, I'm sorry." It's just cheesy.
Well, what I love is throughout the movie, when, you say, he really holds on to his grudges. You see throughout the movie, the one person he is trying to like fix it with is his brother. Because there's moments he goes to the house and tries. You can tell in his hurt, that's the one person he does want to try to fix things with, because it's his brother. There's that, love there. But he can't even let that, go. He can't do it. As hard as he's trying. One of my favorite scenes in that movie with him is actually that hotel scene with Nick Nolte. Because Nick Nolte, like, look, we all know the fall from grace the man had with the mugshot and everything. But goddamn, if he isn't so a good actor when you give him the right material and like he tries.
I'd argue real quick. I'd argue that just getting shit faced in a Hawaiian shirt is far from the fall from grace people are having these days. So I don't think Nick Nolte's really got that many skeletons in his closet for us to forgive at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, compared to what he had pre that mugshot and then his career after that. But god damn, if he isn't given a hell of a performance in this movie, man, like he is excellent. And one of my actually, I would say my favorite scene is the hotel scene when like his dad gives in, he can't take it anymore. He goes on that bender in the hotel room and he's just rambling on about stuff and freaking out. And I think was Tommy, right? It was who Tom Hardy was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy, just stands there and listens and just looks at him and lets him ramble. And then finally holds him and just like has that moment of like, it's without saying it, "Hey, it's okay, Dad. You fucked up and you're trying."
I thought it was really fucked up how he kept trying to drive his now, clean and sober dad to fall off the wagon. Like he wanted to hurt him. And then when he saw what that had done, he was like, "I wish I hadn't done this."
Yeah. Because it's like he had that moment of realizing like not to dismiss anything his dad may have done to him as kids, but what you see in the movie is someone that and that's why I say Nick Nolte was a hell of a performance in this movie. Is someone that does realize what he did to his two kids, and wants nothing more than try to make it right. Even though he knows that it's too late, they're adults. The damage is done, and you see it. Right, he goes to Joel Edgerton's house at one point to try to do it, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here." and you can just see the hurt in his eyes. Like, I fucked up as a dad. I'm doing anything to make it right. But like you said, Tom Hardy comes in and just keeps throwing it in his face. Like, hey, you did this when you were in blah, blah. And he's like, and it's hard because it's like, it's life. You understand all the sides that are being played in this movie.
Yeah.
You're like, I understand every single person's viewpoint.
Well, I love that this film has no bad guy. Like, it's so hard to pick a side here because everyone's cause is righteous. Tom Hardy's trying to give his best friend's widow, money to keep going, and Joel Edgerton's trying to save his house. It's like, how do you back? Which horse do you back? And then, of course, Nick Nolte's trying to do right after years of abuse. It's like, Jesus, man, this is family.
Yeah.
It's a powerful movie and just, absolutely devastating. I think the work Tom Hardy put into that movie shows. I mean, Jesus Christ, he is like bulky, but like streamlined, not like, sloppy bulky like Bane. Like, this is a dude who trains every single day to look like this.
Yes.
Like this, yeah. And it's just wild. It's such a great drama, great sports movie, and an epic character study. So this was my number one from the get-go.
Yeah, no, this was a film I'd heard about when I was getting into Tom Hardy. And I was kind of like, people were talking about like, oh, you gotta check out, it's really, really good. It had just come out. And I rented it off of Netflix. And I remember putting it and just being blown away, being like, holy shit. So like I said, to me, some of the best films, because admittedly, I'm tired of sports films. Like they tell the same goddamn story. But the best ones are a trauma first, admittedly. Like, they are character studies first and foremost, and the sport happens to be it's just part of the storyline. And that's what this is. First and foremost, yeah, absolutely, UFC fighting is the sport in this film. It's what they're doing. It's a part of the plot line. But the driving force is the family trauma and the characters. And that's what gets you into it, so that when you do get to these fights, there's a relationship to it. You know what I mean? Like you said, when you see him punch that guy take him down in one hit, there is all of what was built up to who this character is. So that punch makes sense. The punch pays off. You know what I mean? You built up to him being able to do that because you get why he pulls that off. And then when you get to the final fight with the two brothers, again, it's on an emotional level, it's rewarding because now you're seeing them after having so many moments of words being duked out. Now they're physically duking it out.
Yeah. And, in some families, like, you need that. Like, the only way to move past something is to beat the shit out of one another. And this is their moving past it. This is the apology. This fight is the apology. And then afterwards, they're embracing each other and they're like, brothers again. It's wonderful. I love this movie.
Yeah. Anyone who knows, they're brothers right when Tom Hardy is getting ready to go to jail for going AWOL. So it's going to be a bit before they see each other physically.
Yeah, again. But at least emotionally, they've buried the hatchet.
Yes. So it's again, I guess, I do like that the film ends like that. I do, because it sticks to its tone of being realistic and being a family drama first and foremost. And because, obviously your stereotypical Hollywood going to be like, oh, well, they forgive it. Never mind. You don't care that you went AWOL, your brothers again. Yay. No, this is realistic. Like, yeah, they bury the hatchet, they're brothers again, but realistically he went AWOL and the army will fucking make you pay for any branch of the military will make you pay for that.
Hilarious. At the end of this, like, his commanding officer shows up and is like in tears. And he's like, get this man a pardon. Like, no, it's emotional and it's, powerful and he did the right thing, but you still went AWOL and you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that. But now, when Tommy gets out of jail, he's got a place to stay. That was fun. That was fun getting to kind of go through our Tom Hardy films. Why don't we recap real quick? I'll start. Number 5, Lawless. Number 4, The Revenant. Number 3, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 2, Bronson. And number 1, Warrior.
And for me, I had number 5, Bronson. 4, The Revenant. 3, Warrior. 2, Dark Knight Rises. And 1, Venom.
Very cool.
I knew that was going to surprise you when I put it on there.
Yeah, but it's, I love that he puts the same level of commitment into like an Oscar possible drama as he does with a comic book movie produced by Sony.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
That was predicted to flop. No one thought this was going to do good. and yet it made almost $1 million at the box office.
Yeah, if this had failed, Marvel and Sony probably would have had much different negotiations regarding the future of Spider-Man. So I have mixed feelings about that, but I do like the movie.
It's like, yeah. Granted, if it had failed, but people liked Tom Hardy, maybe we would just had him in the MCU.
Wolverine.
Oh, I so wish that is the one thing. So I would. It does make, as much as I love his forms from Venom, it's like if he didn't get that, there is a chance out there that he would have approached to play fucking Wolverine.
Who's to say that the variant of Logan in the MCU kind of looks like Eddie Brock?
I would love if Marvel comes up to him and he's like, look, you're like the only one holding that universe together. All right. But if you come over here to us, you're not the only one. It's a whole universe of success, and you'll be a part of that. Don't you want some of the pie, Mr. Hardy?
I love it. I love it. It's like Marvel isn't getting a huge fucking cut of the Venom franchise. It's like they still own the character. It's like, whatever. It's murky waters.
Fine. Just win. I feel like Morbius made them kind of go, oh. Do it one more time, Sony. Do it one more time.
See what happens. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
All right. That was fun. Let's talk Bronson. So, the film is based on a true story. Michael Peterson, who changed his name to Charlie Bronson in 1987 after his boxing promoter thought he could use a more suitable name. Bronson is considered Britain's most violent prisoner, despite the fact that he's never actually killed anyone and has been incarcerated on and off since 1974, when he was arrested for armed robbery and sentenced to 7 years. I think that's hilarious. Like, this dude's considered like the most dangerous man in England, and he's never killed anybody. He just keeps fucking with guards, and they keep adding more years onto his sentence.
Yeah, I noticed, I was like, this guy has not killed anyone. He hasn't raped. He hasn't done really anything like horrendously illegal to be in jail for as long as he has, to be considered this violent criminal. But just because he absolutely just loves to pick a fight, he loves to mess with the guards, they just are like, we got to keep him in here. And he is violent and very insane. He is very clearly insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's known as a violent inmate, has taken numerous hostages in the course of confrontations with guards, resulting in his sentence later being changed to life imprisonment. He's been given life in prison for basically just assault. It's pretty crazy.
I would hate to be a guard if they're like, hey, can you give Charlie his food? I'd be like, fuck no. I don't want to be a fucking hostage today.
I love it. He never actually is going to hurt. He's going to hurt them. He's not going to kill them. He's going to fuck them up.
And even then, hurt is like a 50-50 shot on if he's going to hurt them that day or not.
Yeah. The only person he's ever come close to killing is the pedophile he tried to kill in Broadmoor, which was a true story. That really did happen. And the guards got him just in time. Unreal. I'd say he's a complex individual. He has a short fuse, has hurt a lot of people, but he's also, in his own weird way, tried to make things right to some capacity lately. In 2016, he auctioned one of his artworks to raise money for the treatment of a child with cerebral palsy. So he's using his newfound fame due to the movie and his notoriety to kind of try to help some people, which is nice. He's still alive. He enjoyed the film, and he enjoyed Tom Hardy's portrayal of him. He's currently incarcerated at HM Prison Woodhill in Milton Keynes, England. He's 69 years old and is in the middle of trying to appeal his life sentence, saying, I didn't do nothing. To paraphrase.
Well, I like how you mentioned the art thing. I like how, and we'll get to it, but like the whole scene of the movie kind of establishes that like the art finally kind of made him saying like that was his thing to channel his rage and aggression. And just because of a prick warden that wanted to make life miserable for him, he took that and it immediately just enraged him. And made him angry. I remember even in that scene, I was kind of like, the guard's kind of the prick. Like had you just let him do his art, he would have been a model prisoner. He would have gone out and out of your hair.
It's true.
Like, really, you just made it worse for yourself. You're a dumbass warden.
Well, apparently that's the message of the film, is that art helps people channel their demons. Like, being creative helps people be at peace. And if you take that away, there's no alternative to release that energy. So they're gonna start some shit. So, basically, don't defund prison arts programs is the message of this movie.
Or just don't have wardens like in this or Shawshank that just go out of the way to make prisoners' lives miserable and potentially make an already bad criminal worse. I'm of the mindset that we across the board need some major fucking prison reform.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. The private prison system. I mean, this is England, so I can't speak for their prison system, but in America, it's all privatized. So the more prisoners, the more money companies make. So, they're overcrowded, they're underfunded. It's all fucked up. I've got family who work in the prison system, and I mean to ask them about kind of their day to day. I'll have to do that.
They just fucking tell you the most haunting stories. Like, they just emotionally unpack on you.
Well, I know that I have a cousin who's a prison guard, it's like second cousin who's a prison guard, and he said, like, the best thing you can do is treat them like human beings. So that way, when the riot happens, they don't kill you. Like, a little dignity goes a long way.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. My buddy, Mikey, one I've known since like the second grade.
Yeah.
Before he was a cop, he started out as a corrections officer, and he told me that he goes, you just have to remember that at the end of the day, they view it as their house. This is their house. They live here because they're in and out all the time. He's like, so you just have to treat them like fucking human beings. He goes, yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, some of these guys are hardened criminals and will come at you in a heartbeat. He's like, but most of them, he's like, you treat them with just the tiniest bit of dignity and respect and an actual human being, they'll leave you alone. They won't do shit to you.
Yeah, man, it's that easy. It really is. But then, the power trip assholes get a billy club in their hand and they're, I'm God now, so I'm going to fuck these people up. Then when the riot happens, you're going to be the guy getting stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, you will be dead. Whereas the nice guy, they were either knock out maybe or just leave him completely. They might at some point just hold him hostage for a little bit.
Bronson is going to fuck up everybody, inmates included. Like, anybody he gets his hands on.
Bronson doesn't care.
No, he's just here looking for a good time.
Yeah.
It is weird. His whole thing is like, I want to be famous, and all I'm good at is going to prison. It's such a weird situation. I can't believe this is a true story.
When I was looking this up, I was like, there's no way this is real. I was like, but hey, you know what? I watched Pain and Gain, and I saw a scene where The Rock was barbecuing human body parts outside. And then I found out that, because I was like, there's no way this is made up for the movie. When I looked that shit up, I'm like, no, the real life guy was a dumbass and did that. Oh boy.
I love biopics. True stories are sometimes just insane, way crazier than anything you could make up in a fictional narrative. And I love showcasing those stories to just remind you just how nuts the spectrum of human behavior is. It's wild.
Or like when I found out that they toned down Wolf of Wall Street from the book.
Yeah.
That apparently it was even more wild. I'm like, how much more wild could you fucking get?
I'm afraid to find out.
Yeah. They were throwing fucking tiny people, midgets, whatever. I don't know what's not slang term with that word or not.
It's not midget, so we're already in the deep water, so might as well continue.
Okay, well, but I was like, they had a whole scene where they're like literally throwing midgets as like dart to a dartboard, like as a bullseye. I'm like, how much more insane can it get? They're fucking in the office like daily, and there's a line behind the guy. It's not like there's a private room. It's, hey man, when you're done, I'm next. Like, I don't even wipe the jizz off her. I'm going right in.
Good Lord, man. Oh, yeah, I'd like to read that book. I want to know the deets. But yeah, anyway, Charlie Bronson still there, still kicking, still trying to. Well, I guess he got what he wanted. He's He's famous now.
He is very famous now.
Yeah. I doubt he'll ever get out of prison, but well, maybe he sees that as a win. Bronson was directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, who would later direct Drive, Valhalla Rising, Only God Forgives, and The Neon Demon. And I thought you'd find this interesting. He's also set to direct a remake of Maniac Cop.
He is attached to that. It's been very slow going, and I forget why. He had to explain why it's taking so long recently. But yeah, he is attached to doing a remake of Maniac. Look, I'm not like, I know how Josh already feels about this, right? Just make something original. I get it. But if anyone is going to direct Maniac Cop, I'm okay with him based off his filmography, because I like most of his work that I've seen. Obviously I really like this. I'm a big fan of Drive. I mostly liked Only God Forgives. He is indulging way too much in that movie, but I get why a lot of people were turned off by it. I understand it. I liked a little bit more than most. I need to see Valhalla Rising. I heard that's really good. It was like apparently no talking like whatsoever in the movie. So if anyone can, I'd say do it, that's willing to experiment and have like fun and do something wild, it's him.
I agree. I like Drive. I really didn't like Only God Forgives. I thought it was boring and pointless. But from a visual standpoint, it looks great. And Valhalla Rising, I really want to see. So, and I've never seen Maniac Cop, so I don't have a dog in the race.
Oh, Maniac Cop is so good. I've seen the first two, thanks to Joe Bob. They did one of his Friday night during the season was Maniac Cop 1 and 2. And he had Bruce Campbell as the guest for the first movie, because he's in the first movie. And then he brought on the director, I want to say Lustig, Marion Lustig, for the second movie. Talking about both folks. I haven't seen the third one. I know that's an Alan Smithy movie. Like they got kind of pissed off and left. But the first two are really good. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's on the list. One of those movies. I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan, so I'm down to see anything he's been a part of.
Oh, he is fucking great.
Yeah,
the movie.
We're only talking about one cast member here. Obviously, there's not really a good supporting cast in this movie. It's Charlie Bronson's story, and most of his life is in solitary confinement. So there's not a lot of people he's interacted with over the years. Tom Hardy, nominated for his performance in 2015's The Revenant, lost to Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies, which I disagree with. But I don't think Tom Hardy should have won that Oscar either. I thought that was Sylvester Stallone's time, and he got cheated.
Oh, was that the year that everyone thought he was going to win for Creed and he got cheated?
Yep.
Yeah, that was wrong, because I've seen Creed. He was great in Creed.
Yeah, he was. I love Creed. I think it's my favorite Rocky movie.
It's up there. I don't know if it's my favorite, because I'm actually a real big fan of Rocky Balboa.
Oh, nice.
The last mainline one he did.
Yeah.
Especially that whole scene. God, that speech he gives to his son, where he's like, it's not about how many punches you can take or something like that.
Yeah, it's not about how hard you
can hit.
Not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you get hit. Yeah.
Hit. Yeah, like that line really stuck with me. I'm like, oh damn. Especially because on a funny end, it's like, well, you would know that, Rocky. You get hit a lot in the fucking movies.
I guess that brain damage between 5 and 6 healed up just fine.
Yeah. But at the same time, on like, more like on the serious note, it's just the idea of like, that's to me a very inspiring message of like, yeah, it is, that's life. Like, it's not how hard you can take how big and tough and mean you are to the other person. It's how can you rebound from something? How can you recover?
Yeah, even Rocky 5, which I know people really don't like. I don't mind it. I think it's a decent watch. All okay. 8 Rocky movies, if you count the 2 Creeds. I love all of them. I think they're all worth watching.
And Rocky 5 is okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's Rocky in a street fight. I'll back that up.
Yeah, it has a lot. It's not how I'll say this. I'm glad they did Balboa to actually in the the main franchise before they spun it off for Creed. Because if it had just been 5, I would have been like, not the best ending.
I do find it funny that in 5 and 6, Rocky has to like prove himself to his son who is very much like, oh, my dad's a boxer. In both movies, it's like this kid won't get the message that you have a good father who loves you. Jesus Christ, kid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, especially if taking account, like, because what I love about Balboa too is I love the aspect like how everyone freaks out when that dude challenges Rocky, and they're like, is he going to come out and fight him? Oh my god, because it's like it's fucking Rocky, like everyone knows who he is. But what I love is that for him, it's no, I want to repair the relationship with my son. I don't want to do this fight.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest surprise of the Rocky franchise is like that he kept Paulie around as long as he did.
Yeah, Paulie is kind of a douchebag.
He's a douchebag who like squandered Rocky's entire fortune, who like wanted to bang a robot. Like he's just the worst dude.
Yeah, constantly like made fun of his sister, who Rocky was very in love with.
Yeah. You'd think if like, your sister was married to a giant, like respected boxer, you'd stop talking shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand
Paulie. No, Paulie was not that great. Also, what I love is that like when Balboa came out, that was like, and again, going back to that line, it's not about how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can hit. I feel like that line meant a lot to him because that was when Stallone, we all thought his career was dead. Like this guy had been in nothing of like note for the longest time. And we thought, well, okay, he's just unfortunately become a relic of, that, action era. And then he did the 1-2 punch of like Rocky Balboa. And I was like, holy shit, what a fucking way to bring this character back and end it. And then he followed that up with fucking Rambo. And you know how much I love 2008's Rambo. Like, man just was like, you know what? I'm not done. I'm bringing back two of my most iconic characters, and I'm showing you what's up with both of them.
I do love that whenever Stallone seems to be in a pinch, or like his career seems to be on the down slope, or somebody sells like, somebody says something like, oh, he's a has-been, he'll break out of Rocky or he'll break out of Rambo. He'll be like, what now?
Yeah, right. And then he'll do like a random new franchise, like the Expendables, and be like, yeah, not only do I have my old returning franchise, I have a new one.
I'm still waiting for Over the Top 2.
I am.
We all love a good arm wrestling.
We're getting Expendables 4 sooner than Over the Top 2, sir.
Yeah, I don't remember how we got. Oh yeah, he lost to Mark Rylance. But yeah, Rocky's awesome. Rambo's awesome. Stallone's awesome. Bronson has an IMDb score of 7.0, Rotten Tomatoes score of 76%. It was a surprise hit internationally. Grossing $2.3 million on a budget of only $230,000. That's unbelievable. What he was able to pull off with just $200,000 is amazing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And this was dollars, not pounds.
Wow. The Troy of getting an actor that doesn't demand that much money.
An actor just starting out, looking for a good, juicy lead role. You cast a bunch of unknowns. You film in some abandoned prisons. 200 G's.
Really, really save your money there.
Yeah. I'm very impressed by that. It's a hell of a profit.
God damn.
Yeah. So with that, let's discuss some highlights of Bronson. I love the introduction where he's just, talking about, I want to be famous, but I can't sing. And I got to chuckle when he's like, I can't fucking act. It's like, don't sell yourself short, Tom. This made me laugh.
Just calm down there, Tom. So actually with that, I kind of want to talk about that. I put it down my notes, the structure for this with the whole, like, so when he first started out talking like that, I was like, oh, okay, cool opening. And then I did it again. Then did it again. I was like, oh, this is how this film's being told. And I was like, you know what? To me, it's an effective way to tell a biography. Because like, if there's one thing I think we can agree on when it comes to biographies, because I know you're a big fan, I'm not. Mine's all dependent on who they're doing the biography on, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, especially because they've done so many music ones more than most, there is a cliche that kind of, as far as how the story plays out.
Yeah, it's a formula.
Yeah, there's a formula to it. Seeing something like this where they're kind of like breaking the mold and saying like, let's find an interesting way to actually tell this story. this is it right here. Like, this is a cool way, having these moments of going back to him and almost being in his head as he's telling the story to us. Like, this is, which then makes me interesting the way where it's like, it, you know, obviously we know what we're seeing is true, but if you knew nothing about this man, you could start to question, like, am I even seeing like a true story? Like, it could all be what he's building up, what he is saying about himself. You know what I mean?
Well, the whole thing about this guy is he's theatrical. He's playing to a crowd that doesn't exist his entire life. So it makes sense that in his own head, telling his own story, he's doing like a one-man show, vaudeville style. It just worked for the character. Like, this is how he's picturing him telling his own story. Yeah, it made perfect sense.
Yeah, and it's just so goddamn, like you said, like the scenes where he's like, he laughs and he just stops laughing and stares at the audience. It's just like, what the fuck? And then like when he had like the scene where he had like his face was painted and he's just going so over the top loony with it. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
I was laughing my ass off. The montage of him as a kid getting into trouble when he just straight up decked his teacher when he was like 12.
Yeah.
The dude flipped over the desk and was like, ah.
I just like, yeah, I love how they just show like this guy really almost thing would set him off.
Unreal. I can't imagine. I've never seen anybody with a fuse that short. And he ends up, you know, marrying some lady from the shop. They have a baby. Both of them are never seen again.
Yeah, I love that. There's not seen one bit.
He didn't even mention them. And he goes to jail for like stealing like $60 from a post office. And that 3 decades later, he's still in prison.
Yeah. Something that any other person would have done their time and moved on. Like,
I love in the courtroom scene when his mom's like, don't worry, like you'll be out in 4. And he's looking around like, okay. Optimism.
Yeah. I like how we get an introduction to his naked fighting, that he is really keen on doing to the guards to fuck with them. With that whole scene where like they're getting ready to transfer him and he just is naked and just squares. I love how he always gets ready to fight. He does that constantly. He's constantly getting ready, just puts it up. Like that one guy that wants he was his boxing promoter when he first approaches him in prison, and Tom Hardy just stares at him and then just throws his arms up. And I'm like, he's not trying to fight you, dude.
I love the guy's just like, you got some guns on you, mate. And he's just like, I love the weird way he gives him his tea. He like bows in front of him almost. Like, what's going on here? Oh boy. Yeah, there's random moments I love when he's talking about like various prisons, like their hotel rooms. It's like, it wasn't my favorite place to stay, but the staff are more than willing to make your stay memorable, as he's getting his ass kicked by the guards.
God.
And then he fucks up and ends up in a mental hospital.
Yeah. I love how they like dope him up so he can't do shit anymore because they're so tired of him. I mean, the look he gives me is just staring.
I love when we meet the pedophile and he's just walking through the fun room and you don't see Tom Hardy, and then he's like in the foreground just like drooling in a chair, and you're just like, wait a minute. Was that our hero?
What I wonder if like how much of this he used for Venom, because now that we're talking about, I'm like, there is so much of like this is like Venom here.
Oh yeah, this was I'm sure he went to some interesting places that he never left with Bronson.
Yeah, I'm just glad he has no issues playing these kind of types of like main characters for us to get into. Like, just usually like the type of characters that film would, most American films especially, your major feedback will make just a secondary fucking character that we see, that we remember by a character, but he is like the main star as this type of character, and I love it.
I think if I had to pick a favorite like cultures films, it's England. I think that the British make such great balls to the wall films that are just, like, I mean, Tom Hardy goes full frontal in this movie.
several
Like,
times.
yeah, we see Tom's Hardy or Tom Softy, thank God. And
yeah, I hope he's a grower. By the way, I was like, I'm not judging, but he's probably a grower. I think probably just gets like impressive when he's hard.
it would explain the aggressive hypermasculine roles and the muscles. I love Tom Hardy. I want to make that clear.
Also, uncut man. I noticed that immediately. I was like, he's uncut.
Jumping around here, I loved the scene where he took the guard hostage and made him rub the grease on him.
And then he starts yelling, faster,
quicker, screaming it at the guy. He's like, fuck off. And then the guards try to fight him and they can't grab him.
I like how he alternates between like speaking softly to him and then yelling when he's like, all right, now sit down. No, right there, you're fucking. And he just fucking goes off.
Oh my God, that was crazy. A scene that had me just roaring because it was so weird was the mental hospital dance party where they're just like having a dance night for the people at the hospital and he's dancing with some lady just doped out of his mind.
I love kind of going, I know we're jumping, but going back to that scene when like the pedophile, going back to that one, like he's telling him what he does and you can just see him be like, like he wants to beat the shit out of him then and there. But
he's like gritting his teeth. He's spitting. He's like, just tell this. Just the guy like, hey, me, you, 9-year-old girl, huh? Think about it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Jesus. And because we established that Bronson might be insane, he's not that kind of criminal. So he's just like, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. I'm going to fucking kill him.
I love that he's like, there's only one way for me to stay here forever. And I think I know exactly who to do it to. And he just comes up behind the guy with a tie and chokes him out. But the guards get there just in time to save him.
Yeah. Even I was like, come on, let him take care. Let him do this. Give him this one.
Oh man. But yeah, that mental hospital dance scene where he just starts wandering around and he wanders towards the guards and the guards just like points back and he just like starts wandering back. He's so fucked up. He can't, he just got to stagger about.
I love like the guard interactions he has because you can tell like before the fight, when anytime there's just stand there, the look on their face is like, oh, Charlie again, huh? Gotta deal with this again.
I love when he gets in solitary, I think for strangling the guy or something. I don't remember what the situation was, but one of the guards or like the head doctor or somebody comes in and is like, what do you want us to do? And he's like, fuck off. And they leave and he's like, fucking cons, they'll be back. I'll be ready for them. Fucking. And then they come back and he's like, what are you going to do? It's so crazy.
And even like, the whole like the scene we talked about with the putting the shit on him, right? And the grr. I love what he calls it. I'm putting on my body armor. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then it's just fucking, it's lube. It's fucking lube.
I love it. He's like, get my ass, not in my ass. You fucking like just like freaks out when the guy gets too close to his asshole.
Yeah, no, that's what I love. He's just like, and when he has them, he's like, do you have family? Like he's trying to be nice, but then he has those moments of freak out on him, and now he's like, come on, be a man, get my ass. No, you're talking. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't think he's crazy. I think he's fully aware of his actions and he's enjoying every second of it. I think this man knows exactly how to push people's buttons and just does it. Like, I don't think he's insane at all.
I don't know. Well, the only way I could rebuke that is the scenes following him getting out the first time when he goes to Uncle Jack.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was, who looked like he may have wanted to fuck him because he put his arm on Charlie's leg, and even I was like, your hands on his leg for quite a while there, Uncle Jack.
I think Uncle Jack is more of a title than an actual fact.
I hope. I do like how uncomfortable he looks in that scene.
Yeah. I love when the girl gives him the cocktail and he's like, thank you. Just holds it for a while. He doesn't know how to drink it.
He finally, oh, it tastes good.
I love that he starts fucking this stripper that he's like falling in love with. And she's like, I love my boyfriend. And he's like, you fucking what now? Like, he had no idea.
Yeah. She never told him. And I was like, oh, what I love is that he just leaves her after that. I'm just like, yeah, she's kind of a shit person for doing that. Like, she's had a boyfriend this whole time, but she's been fucking you.
And what does he do? He immediately goes and steals an engagement ring. And tells that lady, don't call the cops for 15 minutes or I'll fucking kill you. Like,
I love that. I love how he just beats the shit out of the guy. And she's like, don't call the cops for 15 minutes. Knowing she's going to call the cops.
oh. I love what he says later. Like, that lady waited exactly 15 minutes, but it did not take them 15 minutes to find me. Everyone knows about the crazy dude screaming at people and picking fights.
Yeah, I love it. He has such a reputation. He is famous. He doesn't even realize it, just in his own way. I do love, again, and this is why I kind of gets like where I think he may have been insane, was like it's the scene with that stripper when she sits on his lap and she kisses him and they show his arm and it's just shaking. I'm like, what are you trying? What's going on there, big guy?
I think he was just really flexing because that was turning her on. I think that's what it was. He was like, I'm not dropping this arm. Like, tighten this up the whole time.
Yeah, I do like the boxing stuff we get too when we get his brief foray into boxing and ultimately his name of Charles Bronson.
I love the first fight when he's like, 20 quid? Are you kidding me? The guy's like, you got to give me gold. He's like, that was gold. He's like, you just pissed on a gypsy. You need to do better than that. Jeez.
Yeah, I was like, what do you want him to do? Because we already had a scene where I had to watch a dude shit in his hand and smeared on his face. What more do you want him to do?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
It's interesting that I watched this not too long after the sadness. So it was like, I had the sadness and all that crazy shit. I'm like, okay, Bronson should be fine. And as soon as which I love fucking Hardy's just stare, it's just like the look of like, how the fuck did I end up here? As the guy is shitting in his hand.
Well, if it ain't the consequences of my own actions.
Yeah. It stares at, I love how the dude's like, I'm thinking, I remember I was standing on my couch going, please don't eat it. Please do not do what I think you're going to do and eat it. Do not do it.
It had been a long time since I saw this. I was thinking exactly the same thing. I didn't remember what he did with the shit. And I'm like, oh God, don't do that.
It's like, please don't.
The weird thing is, I'm not sure if this film is supposed to be a comedy. It's just so outrageous that it's hilarious.
Honestly, it probably isn't supposed to be, but just because of how out there they go with it, it makes it funny.
Yeah, it's unreal. I love during the hostage situation when he takes that one guard when he gets greased up. He calls the warden for demand. He's like, I'm not leaving here till my demands are met. And the guy's like, well, what are your demands? He's like, what have you got? He had no demands. He didn't give a shit. It's all for the moment.
Yeah, I still thought he kind of hangs up after he's like, and bye.
It's like, I don't want that. Oh my God.
God. I love when he finds joy in painting and in arts, and you see Bronson start to finally chill the fuck out.
Yep. And then the warden says, we're cutting the arts program, and he just goes, you fucking what, mate?
Yeah.
Immediately turns on his art teacher. He's like, how the fuck do you know what I want?
Yeah.
It's like,
I love I love like that whole interaction with him and the warden when he tells him that, because I feel like the one did that to be a fucking prick more than anything. But I love when the therapist or whoever it is that was working with him goes to grab the painting and like he's not letting it go. He just has a death grip on it.
I wish we got to see the painting. I was hoping it was like a big like fuck you or something to the warden.
Yeah. I love how he's wearing the glasses. So the whole time the warden's saying this, you just see this very stoic look on Tom Hardy's face as he's telling him they cut the budget down, and you're like, what's going on in that head right now?
There's a reason for the glasses. I found out those sunglasses, especially his vision was so fucked up because he was in solitary for 30 years. Like it was, being in the dark so long made his eyes very susceptible to light. He needed to wear those special sunglasses.
Holy shit.
They turned the dude into fucking Riddick.
So that's how you turn a Rick.
Yeah.
Quick side note. Vin Diesel's being a goddamn bitch and teasing us again today. I saw it on Blaze.
I almost sent you that article, but I'm like, you probably knew before I did.
I saw it on Blood Disgusting, and they're like, there was like literally Todd Vin Diesel was teasing Riddick Adventures. So my first thought was, Vin Diesel, go fuck yourself. Stop teasing me, you fucking always flaccid, bald, fat fuck. You give me God.
Jesus, tell us what you really think.
Don't you say shit about Riddick. And so I don't hear shit until David Torrey tells me that they're shooting tomorrow.
God damn.
Yes, my hope has just turned to anger now at the fact that I'm not getting another Riddick movie. So how much I like the third one. Fuck you, Vin Diesel. You know what? Give it to The Rock. He'll give me a good Riddick.
Ooh. Ouch.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah. But yeah, he's
all right. Sidetracked.
His eyes are all fucked up. I love when he just comes up behind the art teacher guy and just grabs his face and pulls him back. It's like, oh shit. I thought he killed him.
Me too. I thought, oh shit. I love when you mentioned him, he said like, how the fuck. I love how that scene plays out where like the art teacher is like on his side, like he's just being a prick, he doesn't understand, we can convince blah blah, like clearly trying to help him because he believes in his art so much. He just sits and he just goes, how the fuck do you know how I feel? Like, oh, seeing the art teacher's face of just like, oh shit. Like
he's like,
that then Nate.
Oh, he's like, what happened to my tea, bruv? He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I love it because in that moment he realizes like at the end of the day, it's a criminal he's dealing with. It's someone in prison he's dealing with. And as soon as you just hear him deliver that line of like, how the fuck do you think you know how I feel? It's like, oh, okay, it just got real. Like, I might need to get out of this scenario.
Yep. And then Bronson makes him a living painting. And
yes,
and in the end, he's like, oh, he's had enough.
Yeah, I love that whole scene when it just cuts them again naked or nude Hardy, somehow painted completely black, like entire body.
I don't know. Maybe he made the dude paint him before he tied him up.
Yeah, dude's tied up. I love how it's just him standing. I love how they do a lot of these shots, and it's just him standing there staring at the door. Just, I think he yells some kind of demand first. Or something because all the guards are already at the door waiting.
He wants music.
Yeah. If I don't get my fucking music. And I love how the warden's just like, just give him his music.
They're so tired of this shit.
Yeah, they're just like, just give him the goddamn music. He just gives it. He's like, yeah, just do it. And yeah, you get that scene. He puts like the hat on his head. He's doing all this stuff. And then, he just looks at him and he goes, all right, he's had enough. Come on in here, you fucking like.
Yeah, and that's the movie. It says this, he's still incarcerated.
Yeah, everything like about that scene like really told you like everything about how that relationship is with him and the guards, which is like when he takes someone hostage like that, because he has proven not to kill anyone. They're just like, oh, God damn it, what's he demanding? All right, let's just wait till the guy's fucking tired and then we'll get in there. He's probably gonna be naked, just so you guys know.
I think if this guy had been a violent criminal, this would be a terrifying movie. But the fact that he has not actually done anything makes this hilarious.
Yeah.
All he's done is beat the shit out of some people and rob the occasional store.
Yeah. He's literally just the guy with the world's shortest fuse.
It's amazing. Oh boy, that was fun. Here are some Filmgazm facts for Bronson. Number 1, Charles Bronson was not allowed to see the film, but said that if his mother liked it, that would be enough for him. According to the director, his mother loved it. In 2011, Bronson was finally allowed to see the film and called it, quote, theatrical, creative, and brilliant. Thank God, because I wouldn't want to piss this guy off.
He just hunts Tom Hardy down.
You fucked up my life story, mate. And he just beats the shit out of Tom Hardy. I feel like Tom Hardy hold his own, though.
Probably would. He'd probably start acting like him to confuse him.
And come back, Bronson, think like, oh. You think he's fighting like, what happened here?
He starts telling him quicker.
He tears off, Tom Hardy tears off his clothes and is like, does the like gun thing. And Bronson's like, what the fuck is happening? I can see that kind of like, you're locked in here with me kind of situation. Number 2, I thought this was hilarious. Charles Bronson shaved off his mustache and sent it to Tom Hardy so that it could be made into a loose mustache for him to wear. I couldn't find anything on whether or not the mustache in the film actually is Charles Bronson's shaved off mustache. I don't think it is.
I doubt it is. I don't think Bronson knows how film works.
Oh, he can't play me without a mustache. Where's he going to get a mustache?
I'll just give him mine because I can grow it back out anyway.
This man is wacko. Number 3, Nicholas Winding Refn was not allowed to meet Charles Bronson in person since he is not from Britain. I didn't know that. Apparently in England, you can only go visit prisoners if you are also like a native Englishman.
That's a weird rule, but okay.
Yeah. No Danes. No Danish.
If somebody's been playing Valhalla, that's an ism. There's a lot of no Danes stuff in that game.
He was, however, allowed to have 2 phone calls with him. Tom Hardy, who is a Brit, he did meet with Bronson several times, and the two became good friends. Bronson was impressed with how Hardy managed to get just as muscular as he was and how well he can mimic his own personality and voice. It's almost like Charles Bronson's never heard of an actor. Wow, you look and sound just like me. How did you do that?
I'm a starving actor. That's why I need this role.
Bronson has stated he believes Hardy was the only person who could play him. Yeah, I second that.
Yeah, like I said, there is so much of this role that thinking about like what I said with Venom, I'm like, yeah, Hardy's the only one that can pull off these like type of unhinged out there roles the way he does.
Oh yeah. And number 4, I thought this was a bummer. Although Michael Charles Bronson Peterson thoroughly enjoyed the film, he did criticize the portrayal of him as an avid enthusiast of prison life. He has gone on record to state that he absolutely hates prison and suffered physical and mental trauma from his time served. And I mean, if he just stopped kicking guards' asses, he would have been out a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm like,
I feel like he's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, I was like, it's hard for me to believe that because like Larry the movie kind of tells you like if you just stop doing what you're doing, you would have not been in and out to begin with. You would have gone in for a little bit of that shoplift, and then you would have been out, and you would have been fine.
Yeah. So I mean, how much of that is fact? How much of that is fiction? And how much is that Charles Bronson trying to like reclaim his image after this movie made him look like a psychopath?
Yeah. And based off what we know, I think he does like prison. I get the feeling that this is a man that wants to shape the narrative his way and be famous in his way. And then he was like, well, I liked it except for that aspect. It's like, well, I doubt it.
Yeah. He's been in control of his own story until this movie. And yeah, that makes sense. He's got to kind of get some control back. Crazy. I give Bronson an 8. It's a wildly entertaining film. Features one of Tom Hardy's greatest performances. It's fucking bonkers in a good way.
Yeah, I second that 8. I'm down. This is, I'm glad I finally had a chance to watch it. Tom Hardy really fucking delivers in this film. And I'm just glad that this wasn't like a case of a struggling actor that finally got into just kind of sleepwalk the rest of his career of success. He's just continued to deliver, as we talked about, performances like this left and right, no problems. Like this was definitely a movie that said, this is who this actor is. Get ready, because he's going to do some real big stuff, even bigger stuff as the years go on.
Oh hell yeah. This was a good one. I love when the book delivers a just solid episode to us. It's entirely random. Thanks for listening.
Times it betrays us.
Oh yeah, sometimes we get like a last shift or the Bird Box episode we didn't do.
I like how the book is determined we do that, and we just keep being like, yeah, not happening.
Nah, we have. I had to like kind of make up a weird rule, so we got out of doing Bird Box. That was fun because Bronson was our next pick, so thankfully that's what we got.
Yeah, we just keep finding ways out of Bird Box.
Well, this was thanks for listening, everybody. If you like the show, feel free to follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Filmgazm Productions. You can send us a message if there's films you want us to do on the show. You can send us a message there, or you can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. You can also check out our website, filmgazm.com, where we have reviews, articles, trailers, every episode of all of our shows. If you want to support the show through Anchor, you can click on support this podcast on your podcast provider. We appreciate it. Next week, the cycle continues with Caleb's pick, and we're going full creature feature with 1980s Alligator. A baby gator is flushed down the toilet and spends 12 years in the sewers, gorging itself on lab dogs being injected with growth hormones. So now we got a giant alligator going after humans. Sure to be a fun episode. I love monster movies. This one comes highly recommended. Check us out next week for Alligator. You're the one who's been pushing for this one. I know.
I have. There's a scene that stuck with me since I was a kid. Anyone who's seen it, I'll just say this: it's the reason I got scared of swimming pools for quite a while. If you haven't seen it, you'll know what I mean when we talk about it. But I highly recommend this movie. I remember loving it as a kid. I remember watching on TV all the time. I know I've been pushing for this ever since I got my hands on the Screen Factory 4K that they released, because it's finally it's due and getting put on home upgrade physical release and getting a lot more love again. So I can't wait.
Yeah, this will be fun. Monster movies are always fun. Don't miss Green Lantern on Fridays Beyond the Bad, Ex Machina on Oscar Sunday, and A24's Men on Monday's sneak preview. Until then, try to stay out of prison and keep watching movies.